All right, let's dive straight into it. As we gear up for Celtics' return to action this weekend, there's a pressing issue that we need to address, one that could have significant consequences for the team moving forward. The focus today is on Kasper Schmeichel, and unfortunately the news surrounding him isn't exactly promising. If you caught yesterday's video, we talked about the injury he sustained during the international break, but since then more updates have emerged and they don't paint an encouraging picture. So let's get into all of it. Schmeichel's situation, what it means for Celtic, and a few other key topics that are worth discussing, including a familiar face who has been part of this channel's discussions for quite some time now. And no, I'm not talking about Joe Hart. There's a lot to cover today, and I'll do my best to get through it all before we go live later, so let's waste no time. If you remember from yesterday's discussion, we focused on Kasper Schmeichel's injury, which occurred during Denmark's Nations League match against Portugal. It was a concerning moment, not just for him, but for the entire Danish squad, as well as Celtic fans watching on. He was clearly in discomfort from the moment it happened, so much so that it was audible even through the broadcast. But due to a lack of immediate substitution options, he had to remain on the pitch for another 15 minutes before he could finally be taken off. Now, after the match, it was widely reported, and has since been confirmed, that Schmeichel was taken straight to a nearby hospital for further evaluation. The initial examinations provided some insight, but today we've received additional information that suggests this could be a more serious issue than first anticipated. The reports coming out of Denmark this morning are particularly alarming. Several sources have indicated that after his hospital visit, Schmeichel was spotted at Lisbon airport, his arm in a sling, his expression one of fatigue and concern. And let's be honest, when you see a player in that kind of state, it doesn't usually mean good news. Right now, the focus has shifted towards just how severe this injury might be and what it means for his availability in the coming weeks. Some reports in Denmark have speculated that he could be out until September, which would rule him out of not only the end of the domestic season, but also the Scottish Cup semi-final, potentially the final, and even the league's flag-raising ceremony in August. If true, this is a devastating blow. Not just for the team, but also for Schmeichel himself, considering where he is in his career. It's worth noting that this season could very well be one of his last at the top level, and missing a crucial run of games at this stage is far from ideal. That said, I want to stress something very important. Nothing is confirmed yet. It's easy to get caught up in the speculation, especially with certain headlines making the rounds online, but at this stage we simply don't know the full extent of the injury. Yes, Schmeichel was seen with his arm immobilized, and yes, there are concerns about a long-term absence, but until we get official results from the medical team, there's no reason to assume the absolute worst. Some good news did come from the Danish national team's doctor, who stated that Schmeichel underwent a CT scan that showed no major abnormalities. Additionally, an X-ray conducted on the night of the injury came back clear, which is somewhat reassuring. However, we all know that fractures and ligament damage don't always show up immediately, which is why he is now undergoing further tests, including an MRI scan. Those results are expected to come through by Friday, at which point we should have a much clearer idea of the situation. So to anyone panicking or assuming he'll be out until September, I'd advise holding off on any conclusions until we hear the full medical report. At this moment, there's nothing concrete to suggest a long-term absence, but at the same time, we have to be prepared for that possibility. If it turns out to be a serious issue, it would not only impact Celtic's end-of-season ambitions, but could also shape Schmeichel's own future in football, especially given that he signed only a one-year contract extension. If this keeps him out for months, it could potentially mean missing out on a crucial chapter of his career. For now, it's a waiting game, and all eyes will be on the MRI results due at the end of the week. If we're lucky, the worst-case scenario won't come to pass and Schmeichel will only be sidelined for a few weeks. But given the nature of shoulder injuries, especially for goalkeepers, there is always the possibility of complications, and surgery could even be required depending on what the scans reveal. We'll just have to wait and see. In the meantime, this does open the door for Vami to step in this weekend and show why Celtic signed him last summer. He has only played one match this season, so this is a massive opportunity for him to prove himself on a bigger stage. There's confidence within the squad that he has the ability to step up when called upon, but whether he can fill Schmeichel's boots over an extended period is another question entirely. Either way, this is his moment, and it'll be fascinating to see how he handles it. We'll continue to keep a close eye on Schmeichel's situation, and as soon as the results are in, we'll discuss what it means for Celtic moving forward. But before we move on, let's shift focus slightly to the international break, because there are a few positives to take away from it. One of them being Adam Idah's recent performances. Idah had a fantastic showing for Ireland, scoring a key goal in their recent win over Bulgaria and delivering a bold post-match interview aimed directly at his critics. He didn't hold back in his comments saying, "I saw a lot of things online, so this was really about telling people to be quiet. I've moved on from that, and I know exactly how I performed tonight." That is how you silence critics, by letting your feet do the talking. Naturally, I was disappointed with the first game, but I came in today and did what I've been doing all season. This was for those who doubted me. Now, while he was mainly addressing national team supporters, it's not hard to see how his words might resonate with Celtic fans as well. Idah has faced his fair share of criticism this season, especially given the $9 million price tag attached to him. Some supporters feel he hasn't delivered the level of performances expected from such an investment, and while there have been flashes of brilliance, consistency has been an issue. The reality is if you spend $9 million on a striker, you expect regular output. If he had arrived for half that price, the scrutiny wouldn't be as intense. But when you invest heavily in a player, expectations naturally rise. It's a fact of football, and Idah is now in a position where he needs to prove himself week in, week out. Not just with Ireland, but also at Celtic. To his credit, he was a pivotal figure in the team's title push last season, playing a key role at a crucial stage. That's why many still have faith in his ability, but this is a defining period for him. If he truly wants to silence his critics, he needs to carry his international confidence into his club performances. Let's see if he can do just that. And speaking of key figures, there's one last thing worth mentioning today. Something that longtime viewers of this channel will know means a lot to me. A certain well-known fighter was spotted wearing the Celtic colors, and if you followed this channel for a while, you'll know exactly why that's significant. But more on that in a bit. For now, let's keep our focus on the games ahead, and I'll be back later for a live discussion. Stay tuned. Moving on from Schmeichel's situation, let's shift the focus slightly to something that might not be as pressing, but is still worth discussing, especially for those who have been following the club closely over the past year. A certain familiar face has been making headlines once again, and this time, it's not just for his performances on the pitch. For those who truly know me or have been watching my content for years, you'll understand exactly why this is significant. A well-known figure, someone I've always looked up to, was seen representing Celtic recently. And while it might not seem like a massive deal to everyone, it certainly caught my attention. This individual, who has made a name for himself in a completely different sport, was spotted at the stadium earlier in the day, taking a tour and embracing everything the club has to offer. He was even gifted a personalized Celtic shirt, one that recognized him as one of the very best in his profession. Later that evening, he was seen proudly wearing the club colors, something that for me just feels right. It's one of those moments where two passions align in a way that just makes sense. The club has wasted no time in maximizing this connection, and rightly so. Celtic's official channels have been filled with content related to this moment, celebrating what is clearly a special crossover between two very different worlds. It's a smart move from the club's media team, as they've taken full advantage of an opportunity to gain some extra exposure and create some exciting content for the fans. Seeing him wearing the green and white hoops, engaging with the club, and showing genuine appreciation for what Celtic represents is something that I never expected, but absolutely love to see. It's fascinating how all of this started, especially considering the rivalry that initially brought his name into the conversation. At one point, it seemed like just a passing comment, something that wouldn't really go anywhere. But here we are with him fully embracing Celtic, making appearances at the stadium and forming a real connection with the club. I can only imagine what's next. Maybe we'll see him at a match sometime soon. Maybe he'll be there for a trophy lift. Who knows? What I do know is that this is something special, and I, for one, am fully here for it. Now, coming back to the football itself, there's still plenty to unpack as we come out of the international break and look ahead to the business end of the season. There are always concerns when players return from national duty, and Schmeichel's situation is the perfect example of why so many clubs hold their breath during these periods. But for all the worries about injuries and fatigue, there are also positives to take away from the break. One of those positives has to be Idah, who took full advantage of his time with the Ireland squad. His goal against Bulgaria was a brilliant moment for him, not just because it got his team the result, but also because of what it represented for him personally. After all the criticism he has faced this season, this was a chance to respond, and he did exactly that. Not just with his performance, but with his words as well. His post-match interview made it clear that he has been paying attention to what's being said about him. The comments, the doubts, the negativity, he has heard it all. And rather than letting it weigh him down, he used it as fuel to prove people wrong. Now the key question is whether he can bring that same energy back to Celtic. Performing well for your national team is one thing, but doing it consistently at club level is another challenge entirely. The reality is that expectations for him are high, and for good reason. When the club spends $9 million on a striker, there is an automatic pressure to deliver, and so far he hasn't fully justified that price tag. Some might say that the criticism he has faced is harsh, but that's just the nature of football at this level. When you carry that kind of valuation, the scrutiny is inevitable. That being said, there's no denying his potential. He played a crucial role in the title push last season, stepping up when it mattered most. But now, as we enter another decisive period, he needs to show that he can do it again. The confidence he displayed in his performances for Ireland needs to carry over into the remainder of the season for Celtic. He has the ability, but does he have the consistency? That's the big question. If he can string together a run of strong performances, he will silence his critics in the best way possible, on the pitch with his football. So as we look ahead to the upcoming fixtures, all eyes will be on certain key players. Schmeichel's situation is still uncertain, but we'll know more in the coming days. Idah has a point to prove and a real opportunity to do so. And as for that special guest at Celtic Park, let's just say that this is a moment I won't forget anytime soon. There's plenty more to discuss, and I'll be back later for a live chat to break everything down in more detail. Stay tuned, and I'll see you all soon. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Could Wayne Rooney be on the verge of a stunning move to Scotland? Rumours are swirling that the Manchester United legend and current Plymouth Argyle manager is being lined up for a top role at Celtic. With the club seeking a fresh vision at the executive level, whispers in football circles suggest that Rooney could be the next man to step in as director of football. But would this be a masterstroke or a gamble too far for the Scottish champions? Rooney's managerial career has been a mixed bag so far, with struggles at Birmingham City, but a fresh start at Plymouth Argyle, despite his difficulties in the treble. Dug out, his name still carries immense weight in the footballing world. His knowledge of the game, leadership qualities, and vast experience at the highest level make him an intriguing candidate for a director role. If Celtic are serious about evolving their footballing philosophy, bringing in a globally recognized figure like Rooney could send a powerful message. However, doubts remain. While Rooney's playing career was illustrious, his executive experience is virtually non-existent. Would he be able to handle the complex demands of squad planning, transfers, and long-term strategy? Some fans believe that Celtic need a steady, proven hand rather than a big name learning on the job. The Scottish Premiership is a different beast from the English leagues, and adapting to its unique challenges could prove difficult for someone without prior experience in such a role. Nevertheless, the potential upside is undeniable. Rooney's connections in the footballing world could help Celtic secure high-caliber talent, and his reputation could be a major attraction for players looking to join the club. Furthermore, his winning mentality, developed under Sir Alex Ferguson, could instill a new level of ambition at Celtic Park. If he surrounds himself with the right advisors, this could be the beginning of an exciting new era for the Hoops. Now, the speculation continues, and fans are left wondering, is this the start of something special, or just another wild footballing rumor? If Celtic do take the plunge and appoint Rooney, it would be one of the boldest moves in recent Scottish football history. The question remains, will the gamble pay off? Hello, fan! Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.